Weather Center PM, tonight and every night.
In the next half hour, Weather Center PM, a comprehensive national forecast. At 40 after, Weather Center PM continues with highway and air travel conditions. Then the weekend outlook. And at 50 after, Storm Watch. But right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
It's been a stormy Sunday from Florida all the way to the mid-Atlantic, and rain is spreading across the Northeast tonight. Hello, I'm Paul Emick, and welcome to this edition of Weather Center.
And I'm Kim Perez. Rain or shine, the Boston Marathon will be run tomorrow, and we'll have a live report in a few minutes, but we'll begin with the storms and the soaking rains. Well, in Sevier County, Tennessee, we actually had some flooding out there. The water was running high and fast in some parts of eastern Tennessee tonight, where too much rain is causing problems. This is the Little Pigeon River in Sevier County, east of Knoxville. Rising water forced the evacuation of a nearby retirement home. I was just up there. Actually, there were tornado warnings there about a week ago last Wednesday in Sevier County. But this is more flash flooding going on here, more than severe weather, and that should be winding down, the flooding, because most of the rain has ended. But as you well know, just because the rain ended doesn't mean the flooding is going to end. But it looks like the heavy rain now moving into the Northeast, and Paul will be talking about that. But severe weather is still a threat tonight east of our front. Dew points, well, in the 50s and 60s. Once the front gets through, we cool it down to the 40s and in the mid-50s. So, and the warm front about right in here, north of it, dew points in the 40s. So this is the unstable area, or the warm sector of the front. Now, the water vapor loop showing us moisture in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere, and we show a lot of it here, but we also show dry air working into it. That's an ingredient we look for tornadoes. And it looks like here we do have tornado watches still out until 9 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, and we actually have a few tornado warnings out. And that watch does include Norfolk, but no tornado warnings out for Norfolk at this time. But just east of Richmond, we are looking at a tornado warning here with this cell into New Kent County. And I guess around Providence Forge is where they're saying the Doppler indicated tornado is at this time. It is moving off towards the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So maybe folks in James City should be on the lookout for this storm as it moves off towards the northeast. Again, it is Doppler indicated. Otherwise, just some heavy rain out there. That's about it for severe warnings. Just 2 tornado warnings out there tonight. And our front moving into Florida, no severe weather with this, just a little bit of light rain coming in, but lots of lightning here just off to the west. And we'll be watching that if it moves into Tampa. Let's talk about what's happening in the northeast. Here's Paul.
Well, Kim, I'll tell you what's happening. Looks like a little bit of rain is starting to move our direction. It's been moving for quite some time. This is some of the same moisture-making mechanisms, or moisture-dragging mechanisms, if you will, that we were dealing with the last couple of days across the southeast. Lots of wet weather on the move as it slowly trekked north, where we're now dealing with some showers around Philly, around the Caldwell, Jersey, around New Jersey, also around Pittsburgh. It's still pretty wet tonight, even Cleveland with some showers. The problem is timing. As this stuff starts to move on, we're not just going to dampen Albany and Syracuse and Rome and Ithaca and Buffalo like we're doing tonight, but we're going to start to move it on toward the city. Already some drizzle around JFK and LaGuardia both. If you're there, you may encounter more rain coming up shortly too. But into Boston, that's where we're starting to kick some wet weather. That brings up a couple of questions, like what's the status of that on toward Monday for the marathon? With those details, here's Kim.
Thanks, Paul. Well, folks in Boston are getting ready for the big marathon, and come rain or shine, it's going to happen tomorrow. Reporting live from Boston is the Weather Channel's Jill Brown. Jill, you seeing any rain out there yet?
No, Kim, actually, so far so good. We kept thinking we were feeling a couple of sprinkles, but the rain hasn't moved in, and everyone, I think, is somewhat happy to see that, but it's all, as you're saying, a matter of timing. It is eventually going to come, and with luck, we'll get that rain tonight. It may be heavy, but it should be ending before race time tomorrow, which sounds good. However, they bust the entrance up to the beginning of the race in Hopkinton early in the morning, so they may be standing around in rain for a while, which may end by the time the race starts, but it's going to be kind of a messy morning for the runners and also the million spectators. You have 11,000 runners, but a million spectators. A lot of uncomfortable people perhaps tomorrow morning if the rain continues through maybe mid-morning. We're in Copley Square here. If you look behind me, still a lot of activity actually. We've seen a lot of runners come by. Everyone wants to know what the weather's going to be like. A lot of activities like the pasta dinner going on tonight, the racers party with the Pointer Sisters. So everybody's out and about tonight, busy, happy to see dry weather. But again, it looks like while it's a little slow to move in, the timing could be just about right. So let's check our forecast for race time tomorrow. Looks like we will have mostly cloudy skies and a temperature about 51 degrees. Problem is it may get a little bit windy, but at least the wind will be a tailwind, so that may help to blow the runners right into Boston and perhaps the record time. Let's talk about some history here with the Boston Marathon. Hot weather is a bad thing if you're a runner, you know that. The hottest Boston Marathon run ever was in 1976. And it got up to 100 degrees at about the start of the race in Hopkinton, 68 degrees at the finish line, and if you live around here or if you live near water, you probably know what that was. Sea breeze kicked in, so at the end of the race, not too bad, but along the route of the race, apparently a lot of folks got out there with their hoses to water down the runners. That probably won't be necessary tomorrow if it's only in the low 50s at race time. Shouldn't be too hot for the folks here, but hopefully dry. So we'll continue to watch it. Again, that rain seems to be very reluctant to move in. Let's hope once it gets here, it's not a big problem and ends in time for folks to have a pretty nice day for Patriots Day and the 102nd running of the Boston Marathon tomorrow. But we'll be here to tell you about it, Kim, through the rest of this evening and throughout the day tomorrow.
Thanks a lot, Jill.